webcast that brings you the passion, the power, and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Rue and Hammer Live. No stone left unturned as we dive deep into everything Warriors. Joining me as usual tonight is my co-host and good mate, Warrior Rue. Rob, how you been, mate? I can see. Are you still at your parents' place?
Still at my parents' place, mate. It's been a slog. So as I mentioned last week, and as you know very well, got a lot of renovations going on at home. We got our brand new vinyl plank floor put in, which is awesome. And we got some new carpet in the bedrooms. And today, all day, I've been painting the walls. It's a punishing task, but it's going to save me thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
if I do it myself.
Hate that job.
It's really hard getting in some of those like nooks and crannies above the new cupboards and everything, and getting in there. And could always be worse. And we're gonna have a brand new floor. Hopefully, we're moving back in soon. Get all the stuff back in the bedrooms, but it's just an ordeal, Just getting everything up off the floor is just such a pain. We've got stuff in the garage, stuff on the patio. It's raining up here again, of course. It's supposed to rain for like the next week. It's like not another cyclone, but a mini monsoon or something's coming through. So, it's all happening up here. Been good. And I'm wearing my Miami Heat hat today because, as you guys know, I'm a massive NBA fan, massive Heat fan. I've been for 30 odd years. I spoke at the start of the year about the bitter breakup we had with our former superstar Jimmy Butler, who was, I guess you could liken him to the Daily Cherry Evans kind of scenario at the moment. He wanted a max deal with the team. Pat Riley, the coach, said no. The manager said no way. So he had a big sook and basically demanded a trade. Left. He's been talking smack ever since. He went to the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry and co. And tonight was today's game was the first time that he'd come up against his old team, Miami teammates, and he'd been talking smack all week, saying what he's going to do this and that and all that sort of thing. And anyway, we ended up smashing them. Bam, dunked over him, which was great. He only scored about 10 points. They did do a tribute video for him, which I don't mind because on the court, he was a really good player for the franchise. So, I thought that was quite a nice touch. And there was mixed response from the crowd, a bit of booing, a bit of cheering, but yeah. But that's my NBA rabbit trail, mate.
A guy that used to fuck my basketball multis every week.
Exactly. A number of times you had him to score 20 points and he'd get 19 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he'd ruin my multis. I hate that bloke. I would never say that I hate him because of what he did for the team and everything, but it just ended really badly. It reminded me, as I said before, that the first time Sean Johnson left the Warriors, it was just one of those really messy breakups. But but anyway, mate, how have you been? You been keeping well? My life down here pretty uneventful for the past week, I guess. Just business as usual, work and that kind of stuff. I haven't had to get floors relaid. I haven't had I'm telling you, as an ex-builder, I do feel for you because I used to be that guy that would come into the houses and move all that furniture, and people would be living out of one room and stuff like that while we're doing work. So I know it can be a punish, especially when you got kids.
Yes.
But one job, I used to do everything. As a builder, I'd do everything: gyprocking, floors, wall framing, metal roofing, everything. One job I would never do is painting. That is a punish.
It's so tedious, hey?
It is a punish, mate. But mate, I've been good. Week's been good. I guess tonight we're going to chat about the Warriors' win against the Roosters last Friday. We're going to look ahead to our game in the all-important Mike Dorreen Cup, the great Mike Dorreen Cup.
We've never lost it.
We have never lost it. But
touch wood.
Before we get into that, a bit of news dropped today. Dylan Walker has been granted a immediate release from the Warriors on compassionate grounds. He has signed a 2-year deal with the Parramatta Eels. He's one of the guys since he's been at the Warriors. He's one of those guys. We've had the privilege of having him on the podcast and had a really good episode with him on. Spoke wonderfully
about his career. And then every time we've seen him since then at games or fan meetups and stuff like that, he's always given us his time and been a real gentleman. Kind of became one of those guys that we really love to interact with. And upon his the announcement today, we sent him a message which he responded to, which was always great. I said this to you today when we spoke earlier today. I just find the timing really bizarre, because the teams got named yesterday. Now this is obviously not something that has just happened in a day where he's gone, guys, I want to release, and the club has said okay, and it's all happened, and he's gone and signed a 2-year deal with Parramatta. This is obviously something that's been happening in the background for a little while. So the fact that he's been released the day after our team's been announced for this weekend, I find really weird. And the other thing I find is, we've got the bye the following week, so why couldn't they just hold off a week? Why couldn't he come to Sydney with the team, play this game against the Tigers? The club announces his release early next week, and we all move on. Because it's not like he can play for the Eels this week. He hasn't been named in their 22 in team list Tuesday, so he's not going to play this weekend. Could have been a nice farewell for him. I don't get it. Don't get me wrong, I get why he's been granted a compassionate release. It's no secret his relationship with his partner broke down midway through last year, and it's something that he spoke to me about after the Bulldogs game last year when I managed to catch up with him. And he was all in for staying at the Warriors, but obviously living away from his kids for so long, it's something that he wanted a compassionate release to get back to them. And it's quite similar to why Chance came back to the Warriors. His relationship broke down with his partner. She moved back to New Zealand with the kids, and he wanted to get back to New Zealand to be close to his kids. I get that. I'm all for family. I get that. I just think as the only New Zealand-based team, we've copped a lot of this compassionate leave releases over the past couple of seasons. We had it when we were based in Australia for 3 years, and then the Warriors announced they were coming back to New Zealand, and then Reece Walsh got a compassionate release because he split up with his partner and he didn't want to be away from his kid. Cody Nikorima asked for a compassionate release. He didn't want to have his wife stranded in New Zealand if something like COVID ever happened again. Ewan Aitken, same thing. Compassionate release, wanted to stay in Australia. Jack Murchie, compassionate release because his partner was having a baby. We've released Adam Fanua-Blake early from his contract, compassionate release to get back to Australia, and now Dylan Walker. And I just feel of the 17 clubs in the NRL, this kind of thing seems to affect us more than any other club. What are your thoughts on all of this, mate?
Yeah, there's been few, like going back like 10 plus years, like Chad Townsend left as well because we granted him a compassionate release. Jason Bukuya, these guys that it's always like the guys that come over from Australia, and then it seems to be family related kind of stuff. But there was strong rumors last year that he was going to ask for a release. Like you said, it sort of came out then, and then he sort of came out and said no, he's going to stay and see out his contract. And I would have thought that if it was still a chance of happening, they would have done it before the season started as well. So yeah, like you said, the timing is really bizarre, and he came out only a few weeks ago saying that he was keen to stay at the club and for another 1 or 2 years. I think the article was. So yeah, it's just really bizarre. But like you said, there was that whole period in COVID where everyone suddenly forgot that the NZ Warriors are from NZ and we'll go back to NZ eventually. And it's like, oh, hang on, hold the phone. Even though they signed a contract knowing that, like AFB asked for a release having only lived in NZ for 1 year, and then we asked him to see out 2024 as well. But if he had his way, he would have gone end of 2023.
Correct.
And Cam George has been quite vocal about them never standing in the way of players wanting to leave on compassionate grounds, and sometimes I think, well, if you make a blanket statement like that, then you've kind of created a bit of a rod for your own back, and you say, well, if anyone comes and say, hey, you've been open in the media about saying you won't stand anyone's way. I want to go home for X, Y, Z reasons, and then the club will be like, okay, well, we've given everyone else a release, so here's yours. So yeah, I don't know. At a certain point in time, they're probably going to have to, put their foot down. If players have got 2 or 3 years left on their contract as well, Fanua Blake had what 3 years left. 2 years left on his deal when he left. Having said all that, we have benefited from it the other way. So obviously James Fisher-Harris came back to the club because he for compassionate reasons, and I think we got guys like I think it was back in like 2018.
We got Isaac Luke.
There was one guy, the Ignatius Parsi. He got a compassionate release to come back for family reasons. I think Petahiku as well got a release from England to come back. So we have got a few guys here and there, but it seems to be sort of one way, or exclusive, almost exclusively one way traffic with this sort of thing, and with recent times. And I think Cappy and the club have come out and said, look, they're really not looking that much at Australian-based players anymore. They're looking at developing the local juniors, promoting from within. And then obviously that's going to become less and less of an issue if these are homegrown talent. And, especially when you've got like big name players in big name positions like you've got.
What it will do down the track though is... What it will do down the track is we'll end up having the same problems that Penrith have, where as you bring these guys in on low ball contracts and they start producing, great form and they get upgraded contracts, eventually you're going to take yourself out of the market for being able to keep all these players. I mean, you just look at all the guys that have come through that Penrith system now that aren't there anymore. Kikau, Burton, Luai, Taruva,
all superstars. All stars.
Coruscant. Guys that have had to move on to other clubs because of salary cap constraints. It's a great problem to have.
I forgot Brandy Alexander. He was the original one that got out of his contract. Brandy was signed for 3 years, and he got out of his contract to go back to Penrith.
Yes,
so there you go. It's been happening since day dot, mate.
Since '95. Thanks, Brandy. I'm fuming too, Malcolm. But the other side of the coin, as a father, being away from his kids and living in a different country, I get it 100%. Family is everything, and one thing I've always said to people, and for those that don't know, I was a single dad for a long time. The mother of my kids and I split up when my kids were 10, 7, 4, 2 and 1, and I got full custody of them. So I raised my kids on my own, and my kids are now adults now. The child who was 1, my daughter who was 1, is now 25. So, and one thing I've always said is that the one thing that my kids always remember is the fact that I was just there. I was present. And for as a father, as a parent, I think that's the most important thing is to make sure you're always present. And I would hate to think that, in years to come, if Dylan stayed in New Zealand and played an extra 2 years or something like that in New Zealand, that there becomes that resentfulness not from just only from himself, but from his kids. So, family is everything, and footy is just a sport. And I get it 100%. And I wish him nothing but luck. I have nothing but love for the man. I'm sporting probably for the final time that I can wear this one.
You retire it.
The Dylan Walker Warrior 278 shirt. So if he happens to see this, I just want to extend our thanks to Dylan for his time at the Warriors and the service. He always gave great service, which is why the fans are probably upset. Because he is an important cog in our rotation and gives 100% every time he pulled that jersey on. But we wish him nothing but luck going to the Eels to maybe pick up his first wooden spoon.
No, go good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mate, shall we move on to last Friday's game? The Warriors at home against the Roosters. A tough-fought 14-6 win.
Sure.
It was one of those grinding games of footy that we never really looked comfortable until that full-time hooter went. Mate, what are your thoughts on the game? What did you take out of that one?
Yeah. Tough sort of arm wrestle kind of contest. The Chooks turned up to play as we knew they would. They had a lot of stars coming back, so they were sort of close to the full strength. I was a little bit concerned again with their attack and like the amount of possession that we had earlier in that game, and then failed to capitalise into points.
Yep.
That was another thing. We still looked a little bit disjointed in the halves. I don't think Metcalf had his best game. CHT, I think, sort of took the reins a little bit more and took on some more of the running game. It was weird that Metcalf didn't run the ball as much. I think he only had 2 runs for the night.
Yep.
So yeah, it was scrappy in that regard. What was really good was their defence. Not the Aaron Clark miss on White. That was a bit of a bad one, but other than that, we looked pretty solid in defence.
It was the token. It was the token Kiwi returning home and scoring a try in front of his family type of thing.
Ruben Wiki factor, the Ruben Wiki effect. Yes.
Yep.
And like the game just got into a real almost. It was 6-4 for about 65 minutes. They looked like they had points in them, and that the Wanga Nitawase, he looks like he's going to be a great player if he's producing that after about 3 or 4 games league. What about that chip and chase that almost produced that freaking try?
Yep.
And they were still kind of exploiting us out on the edges, but we were able to scramble really well, which was really pleasing and recover. The one, it's interesting. It was 6-4 for such a long time. I didn't get to actually watch the second half because I had to take my daughter out to youth group and that sort of thing. So I was listening on Triple M, and it was almost like it was Aaron Woods and Anthony Maroon, and it was almost like they weren't even interested in watching the game that was going on. They were just like having a chat.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was watching through them, and then when it came to the moment with CHT putting the kick, they go, "Oh, that's the worst kick I've ever seen." Oh, is it? Yeah, you just hear the crowd cheering in the background. And it was a weird kind of moment because it really was a nothing kick, and if he doesn't run through and chase that and catch it and put in that effort, then we probably still don't get the lead. It took like an individual kind of play like that to break the deadlock, and then after that, Ali who was absolutely massive,
outstanding.
He excites me so much, that guy, because everyone keeps saying it. Like, we haven't had a real strike centre since Clinton Torpey. Maybe like Conrad Hurrell had his moments.
Yep.
Solomon Carter had his moments as well.
Yep.
But like out and out X factor, this guy's got it written all over him, and scored 2 fantastic tries, some big hits in defence.
It's in his genes, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, nephew of the great Ali Lauatiti.
Ali Lauatiti, oh mate, what an absolute beast he was back in the day. But speaking of Ali Lauatiti, have we got our next version of Ali Lauatiti in Leka Halasima?
Oh, mate.
Tackle breaking machine.
Mate.
Would love to see him get some more minutes. He'd be great out on one of those edges, just like terrorising the defence, just like Ali did back in the day.
Yep.
He had a fantastic game as well, and that was what was great. It was some of the young guys came in and had strong games. Jacko Ford had close to his best game, I think, for the club.
Yep.
A few guys that had sort of had a bit of criticism by us, probably as well. And I have to say, like, I know that like we've been sort of, I guess maybe not critical of Chance, but sort of saying that we'd both probably like to see Tane Tuapiki getting a shot at fullback. We'd like to see a more dynamic fullback, but he had probably the game of his life as well. 300 odd metres, tackle breaks, safe as houses at the back. So yeah, it's a bit hard to criticise the man at the moment, but it was just it's just one of those games. Like you said, we never really looked comfortable, and I couldn't see us winning it up until we got out to that 8-point lead with less than 10 to go, and I was thinking, we just need to play smart and defend.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think you can underestimate the influence that James Fisher-Harris would have on this team as well. Like in a game where, like years gone by, we get out to an 8-point lead with 10 to go, but then we'd give up a try right away because everyone would relax.
Yep.
And we know he's an intense man, or he's an intense man. So he'd be telling the boys, "Come on, we got to keep playing the final whistle." But we're still ahead here, so let's not do anything stupid. Like that's probably the most value that he brings to this team. It's just leadership and experience. And look, having said all that, just so happy to get the win.
Yep.
Second win in a row back at Mount Smart, and hey, it's been 7 years since we've beaten the Roosters, as we said last week. That match that you went to, the old
2018
football stadium, 2018 was the last time we beat them. So fantastic to get that monkey off our back as well.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It was, for me, it was one of those games where it's one of those games that you look back on at the back end of a season, and as Warriors fans, we would always lament that it was a lost opportunity, a lost 2 points. Yeah. We went through a similar thing. Was it not last year? The year before, when we played the Roosters at Allianz, and I think we lost a close 10-2 game or 10-6 or something, 14 something. And that always look back on that game as the one that we probably should have won. This is one of those games where if we had lost it, we would have been analysing certain parts of that game where we should have iced opportunities. One of the things that stood out was apparently Roger did his hammy a couple of plays before the match-saving try on Dom Young, and put himself in that position to save the points and before he went off the field. And that kind of shows how much belief that these boys have in each other now. The big word now is, a couple of years ago, the big word was always resilience, but the big word now that they use is connection. They want to stay connected.
Yep.
And they're obviously staying very connected to keep the Roosters to one try. When the Roosters had done a number on Penrith the week before, and
38 points previously against Penrith, they're a defensive powerhouse.
I thought it was an absolutely fantastic result, a very dour game, and as you said, one on the back of our defence, and we kind of spoke about that in the pre-game last week when we said, guys in that Roosters side, like Chad Townsend has always had a very good kicking game, a la Daly Cherry Evans. Tedesco's always been a guy that gets his hand on the ball multiple times in a set, a la Tom Trbojevic. And we kind of took them out of the game the week before with our defence, and we kind of did it again this time round. It's one of those games where I think at the end of the season we're going to look back on and talk about that being a season-defining game. And I agree 100% with Nigel Phillips. JFH and Barnett, having them both on the bench at the same time, I think is ridiculous. I think it comes back to, I remember, and people are going to hate me for this, but I remember when we had Fanil Blake and Matt Lodge at the club, and Lodge was playing good footy when he was at the Warriors. And Lodge used to play that short spurt first 20 minutes. Fanil Blake would go longer into the half, and they were never off the field at the same time. And we had that 1-2 punch. And I think that's what Webby needs to do with Fisher-Harris and Barnett is, maybe bring Fish off a little bit earlier than when he brings Barnett off. And then when he brings Barnett off, Fish can come back on. I see Desi's doing it great with Tino. Tino came off about the 25th minute last week for the Titans and was back on in the 30th. Just had a bit of a breather and getting back out there. And I think as the season goes on, we're going to need both these guys playing maximum minutes. I would much rather see, rather than Halasima and Vaimunga come on for Fish and Barnett, I'd rather see him come on for Capewell and Nikore, who are a bit like aging bodies, playing on tired legs sometimes. Get them in and out of the game, and get these young guys in, because Mate, we've been talking about Vaimunga for a little while now since he burst on the scene last year. But Halasima, I was at his debut game last year when he played the Bulldogs, and nearly got us a win with that try, or almost try, and we lost that one in Golden Point. And mate, he's a force to be reckoned with. He's very hard to stop. He's always looking for the offload. Had a great cameo, nearly 100 metres with his gameplay on the weekend, but it was his offloads and his tackle breaks that were vitally important.
Phase, bringing that all-important second phase back into our game.
Absolutely. One thing I would like to see the Warriors do a little bit more, and we'll talk about this week's team a bit later on, but one thing that was always good with Rocco Berry was always great with his kick chase and getting to a point where he could contest some of our kicks. I'm not a fan of putting a kick up and not contesting it. Everyone standing back, waiting for the defence to take that ball, and then we kind of try and keep him downfield. So many games over the weekend where you see teams contesting kicks and it paid off. And we did it once, and CHT scored. Yeah. Took a ball over the top of Tedesco and regathered and scored. So I personally would like to see us contest our kicks a little bit more. I'm not a fan of just putting in a kick for the sake of putting in a kick. But yeah, I think Webby would be happy with that defensive effort. It was pretty even game stat-wise, 53% possession we had, completed at 86%, which is always important. Last week we only had 16 missed tackles. This week we had 40 missed tackles to the Roosters 33. So that's something. And again, it seems to be the same players that are getting caught out. I think Capewell's leading the competition in missed tackles at the moment.
Tackles, yeah. It's not a good stat.
No, not a good stat at all. Some of the player stats, mate, you're talking about. Fisher Harris, 126 run metres, 49 post-contact, 37 tackles. Barnett, 156 run metres, 74 post-contact, 28 tackles. Wade Egan, second game over 100 metres, 30 post-contact metres, a tackle break for 48 tackles, game-high 48 tackles. Aaron Clark, who's proving to be a great buy for us, even more so now that we're going to be losing Dylan Walker.
Yes, big time.
168 metres, 56 post-contact, 28 tackles. Dill Walker in his last game for the club, 137 run metres, 45 post-contact, 26 tackles. Your man, Jackson Ford, 151 run metres, 81 post-contact metres, 2 tackle breaks and a mammoth 43 tackles. And then Halasima, as I said, 89 run metres, 47 of them post-contact. So half of his run metres were post-contact metres, which is outstanding. 4 tackle breaks and offload and 15 tackles. Our back three or our back five were quite busy. Ali Lautua, 113 run metres, 32 post-contact, 5 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 2 tries. RTS on the wing, 139 run metres. Tane, 103 run metres, not as much as Roger, but every single metre that he ran was exciting and explosive, and really had 5 tackle breaks.
It's hard to tackle. He's
absolutely
just elusive, and he's one of those guys that can dodge and duck and weave.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we had Chance Nickel-Kluxter under a little bit of pressure. A lot of people saying that maybe doesn't have the legs in it anymore, doesn't have the dynamic gameplay that we want in a fullback. Mate, he shut up his critics. 316 run metres, 96 post-contact, 7 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 2 line break assists, and 2 try assists. Great game for Chance. Which brings us to our Dean Bell medal for round 3. Who are your 3-2-1s, mate, in this one?
Mate, three points. I won't beat around the bush. It was Chance. Probably got a little bit of egg on my face at the moment. But I'm happy. Look, anyone who pulls on the Warriors jersey, I'm right behind them, and I'm happy to be proved wrong at any time. Love to be proved wrong, in fact, by our own players. So Chance got 3 points for me. He was massive, both sides of the ball. 2 try assists as well.
Yep.
And we've been sort of saying that he lacked that sort of dynamic element in his playmaking ability, chiming into the back line, whatever you want to call it. He's 2 try assists, and mate, he was absolutely everywhere. He got my 3 points. 2 points went to Ali Lautua. This guy just excites me so much. Just this kid could be anything. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got good hands, he's just got X factor. You'd be sort of scared coming up against a kid like that. And don't forget, he's probably played less than 10 first grade games as well.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But yeah, 2 tries, and yeah, he actually was the difference in that game on Friday night. Put that big hit on Sendon Smith at the end.
Yep.
As well, huge hit. It was great to see. And 1 point, I gave it to Jacko Ford. I thought it was close to his best game for the club. His work rate was unbelievable, and he was noticeable when he came on. Like normally, you don't notice what he does in attack. Like he's one of those. He's more like a Michael Luck type player. He's a tackle machine. He'll go out and make his tackles, make runs here and there. But
yeah,
he was actually running the ball with gusto, and it was like, oh, Jacko Ford's on tonight. So he gets my 1 point.
Yes.
What about you? Who'd you go with?
Mate, I went the same for my 3. I just thought Chance was absolutely outstanding. Couldn't go past him. Every touch was good. There was a point in the game where it looked like he got injured, and with Roger off the field, I thought, what's going to happen here? And it was kind of like it re-energized him. And then he was having 2 touches every set of 6, and he was making breaks and putting the defence under pressure. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. 2 points, same as you, I gave to Ali Lautua. This kid's just getting better and better. It was his 10th game footy. He's just getting better and better with every game. He's finding, he's getting a lot of confidence in what's going on. You can see Metcalf is looking for him with his ball playing now. He's a once in a lifetime generational kind of player, and you likened him to Clinton Torpey, and very much like Clinton Torpey, just one of those X factor excitement machines that we need in the centres. And I gave my 1 point to Leka Halasima. I just thought with his stint on the field, he.
Here we go.
I just thought, before we get to the great one, Leka Halasima's cameo performance, 89 run meters. He looked dangerous every time he touched the ball. It was his touches that kind of set up our good ball field play for us to capitalise and score those tries. I gave him my 1 point, which means we've actually had 3 weeks now, and it's been 3 different players that have got the full complement of 6. Egan, RTS, and CNK on 6 points each. Clark and Lautua on 4. Dylan Walker, who won't score any more points for the season, on 3. Barnett, JFH on 2. Tuapiki Ford and Halasima on 1. May I say hello to the great Juan, and have a look at the cup that you're never going to touch. The great
You will
Mike
never
Dorreen
get your
Cup.
paws on that.
Oh, mate. So good to see you, mate. Tell me, Juan, are you travelling up to Sydney to Campbelltown for the game this Sunday night? Because I will be there, and that could make a lot of people happy who are Tigers supporters. Because I haven't seen the Warriors win a game at Campbelltown live in the whole time I've been supporting the Warriors. The closest I came, what year did we work out it was, mate? 2016? Round
2016, round 1. Yeah, Roger and Isaac Luke's debut.
Yeah, Tedesco got the try in the final minute of the game. I've seen some 50-point drubbings, and last year I don't think I saw us. Oh, I saw the Rabbits when we beat the Rabbits live. I think that was the only live game I saw. I haven't got a good record of live games.
Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins in New Zealand.
Smart.
Yeah, that's right. I think I'm the only fan of the Warriors that have never seen them lose a game at home. Only been to one, but yeah, that's a record.
I think Malcolm Earnshaw was just over, and I think I'm assuming he went to both those games, or at least one of them. But that must be
nice.
Awesome.
Great one. Great to see you, buddy. Mate, shall we quickly recap round 3? Started off last Thursday. The Storm 30 over the Panthers 24. We all thought this was going to be a win for the Storm because the Panthers were out of form. We all thought that even more so when in the 7th minute Nathan Cleary was ruled out of the game with a Category 1 HIA. Seems so long ago.
Yeah, it always does, the Thursday night game. It's almost a week ago.
But yeah, great win from the Storm. Storm led 14-0. Great fight from the Tigers to get back to only lose that one by 6. Good to see Big Nass continuing on his record of injuring his own teammates. Broke Nick Meaney's jaw with his head.
The wrong kind of wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Just on that game, you've got to admire the Panthers. I mean, they were down on personnel. Cleary went off, but they fought till the very end, and they're just one team that just doesn't give up. And
correct.
It's just not in their DNA. So I've got to admire that about Penrith. And
I do too.
Uncle Ivan.
Yeah, Uncle Ivan. Friday night, Warriors 14 over the Roosters 6, which we've discussed. The second game was the Broncos returning to Suncorp finally.
Oh, jeez.
On Friday night too, 8 o'clock Friday night game. They were home. 26 over the Cowboys 16 in one of the Battle of Queensland games that they carry on about.
One of the derbies. Unconvincing from the Broncos.
Much better effort from the Cowboys, I thought. Struggling to just have that polish on their game. I thought Jake Clifford was a good inclusion for them in the halves. Adam Reynolds' kicking game just destroyed the Bronx, though. And Reece Walsh still more rocks than diamonds in his performances at the moment. So hopefully he can continue that poor form. Saturday, Sharks 27 over the Rabbits 12. Sharkies, pretty dominant first half performance to set up that win. Rabbits never really in the contest. Sharks now, they look like they're a real premiership contender this season.
They're looking top 4. They're definitely based on that first half form. They scored some slashing tries. The one scored by Kale Ero was probably close to one of the tries of the season so far.
Yep.
At the risk of sounding like someone we know, try of the season. But that was fantastic. Yeah. Old mate,
that was
Free Jack was in good.
That was funny, mate. What year was that? 2020? 2020?
2021.
2021. Second game on the Friday night, and we got on round 1, and the guy messaged us and said, "Oh, that's game of the season."
Game of the season, boys. Game of the season. It's the second or third game of the year.
Second game on Saturday was the Tigers 30 over the Dolphins 18 up there at Redcliffe. Mate, this was a really entertaining game of footy. Both teams showing good shape and good attack options. Appy Coruscant really taking control of that game to get the Tigers a win. And nice little moment at the end of that game with Benji, coach of the Tigers, and his brother, Jeremy Marshall-King, hooker for the Dolphins, coming together at the end of that game. Jeremy Marshall-King's getting a bit of time with Uncle Benji. But we're going to talk about our game against them soon, but that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a really tough game. And the Tigers looking good. Looking really good.
They came back from like 18-6 deficit. They showed a lot of ticker there. They're looking really good in attack as well. They put on 30 points. Fantastic.
Alex Seafarth is a really improved this season.
Much improved player.
Something about like redheads, him, Corey Horsburgh.
It's the year of the ginger.
It is.
That was good, and always good to see footy back at KO Stadium, one of our favourite stadiums in Australia.
Yeah. Titans 26 over the Knights 6. Mate, Tino, I spoke about him before. He's a machine. Jaden Campbell growing into that halfback role. Interestingly, the Knights hadn't won at Seabus in 11 years, so that's a who that continues. And unfortunately for the Knights, they lost Keanu Kinney. He's out for the season.
That's a big blow for them, isn't it?
Massive blow. But they've got 3,000 fullbacks in that back.
That's right. So they got 2 fullbacks to play in the halves, so they can just grab one.
They can just move guys. They can just move guys around. Sunday footy. Bulldogs 16 over the Eels 8. Much better performance from the Eels. They were actually in that contest. No doubt the loss of Burton affected the Dogs' attack. Bulldogs were less than impressive, but they still start the season 3-0, which is the first time they've done that, I think, since someone was early mid-2000s. And interesting to see that Josh Curran passed his his referee's course
Referee
and
accreditation.
decided to don the referee jersey midway through that game. So great to see Joshy. Good on you, mate.
Yeah. It was worth a try, wasn't it? Of all the people
Yeah.
that you'd pick would do something like that, it'd be Joshy for sure.
But-
Look, they showed a little bit more fight and spirit in that game, the Eels, but
Yep.
yeah, it's looking like a long season for them.
and just,
what were you going to say? Comment?
I was just reading Jacko's comment there. The Bennett factor is set in at the Dolphins. It certainly has. And I know it's only his first season in, but gee, Christian Wolf is under some pressure to get some results, isn't he?
Him and Toddy are looking like two men under pressure. And
under pressure. Yeah, exactly.
The
final game of the round. The final game of the round, Manly 40 over the Raiders 12. Who can pick this comp, mate? Raiders put a score on us in Vegas. We put a score on Manly at New Zealand, and then the Manly turned around and put a score on the Raiders. I worked it out. Manly can only play at 4 points. Yeah, and hopefully the Warriors can't just play at Mount Smart.
Yeah. Oh, geez, I hope not. Yeah. Despite being pumped by 40, Ricky Stewart still managed to have a bit of a whinge.
Yes.
A little bit of a whinge being an understatement.
Yeah.
The Corey, we were saying the year of the ginger, Corey Horsburgh, the man himself, for Caboolture Snake, got 10 minutes of the sin bin. I think Manly scored about 30 points when he was on field. So,
yeah.
Did he? Good on you, Ricky.
Did he stick his fingers up at cardboard cutouts like he did during the COVID lockout?
That's right. Oh,
and cry.
And he cried. He's crying. Yeah. Because he reckoned someone gave him a, what do they call it now? The one where you swing your legs around the back of the...
the hip drop.
Hip drop tackle. Yeah, he copped one of them, didn't he? And he didn't like that too much, old Big Red.
No. New dad Ruben Garrick had a game to remember, mate, with his 4 tries and his however many goals. Raiders were just purely diabolical. And the Dragons had the bye, which brings us to the ladder. I'll quickly go through it. Storm and the Bulldogs both sitting on top on 6 points. Seagulls, Tigers, Broncos, Sharks, Warriors and Titans round out the top 8. We're in the 8, mate. Yes.
At least at some point.
Raiders 9th, Knights 10th, Rabbits 11th, Panthers 12th, Dragons 13th, Roosters 14th, Dolphins, Cowboys and Eels all still remain winless after 3 rounds. I'll quickly just go through our pathways results over the weekend. Harold Matts had a 22-12 win over the Tigers. They are now 5-1 in that competition and running along nicely. They are the reigning premiers in the Harold Matts comp. SG Ball had their first win of the season. They won 20-12 over the Dragons. They're 1-6 for the season. It's going to be a hard ask for them to qualify for the finals. Our Flag, Jersey Flag, can't manage to get a win. They're 0-3 to start the season. They went down to the Roosters 34-22. But our New South Wales Cup side, 46-12 over the Roosters. And they are now 3-0 to start the season. So, looking really good. Obviously, guys in that team really pressing hard for on the guys in first grade. And it's great that we've got a reserve grade that's playing good footy that can put pressure on our first grade squad.
Yeah, definitely. It's a sign of a healthy club. A question has just come through from Benny the Bulldog. It's amazing what the goal kickers can do from the tee these days. Who do you guys think is the best in the league? He says Garrick is up there for him and Val Holmes. Best goal kicker in the league at the moment.
Current? Adam Reynolds.
Reynolds. Yeah, he's very good. He's very reliable. Cleary.
Yep. Yeah, Cleary, Reynolds. I'll tell you who is a good goal kicker. It doesn't get a lot of credit. Is Nick Meaney as well.
Yep.
If I had to ask one kicker in the comp to take a shot at goal for me to win a game, I'd probably throw the ball to Reynolds. I just think Reynolds can knock him over from anywhere. Cool, calm, collected, very level head on him.
Yeah.
There's some guys who can nail some massive kicks.
Lomax used to be one of those guys.
Lomax, Lomax and guys like that. But they're sometimes they're not good from certain side of the field. Nico Hines is the same. Asako's normally a bit.
He's really hit and miss for me. Like because he's got that big swing. It's very susceptible to missing those kicks from out wide.
If you could pick one in the history of the
History.
I won't say the game. I'll just say in the NRL days. When the NRL start, 99
98.
98.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could pick one guy in NRL era to be that guy to kick for you, who would it be? Because there's been some good beauties.
Oh, there has been. Look, two that come to mind that have been probably two of the greatest kickers the game's ever seen would be old Chook Halligan, Daryl Halligan, and Matthew Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Chook Heron was a good goal kicker as well. Remember the old stutterer? One guy that I remember being a good goal kicker, but I looked at his stats and he actually wasn't that good, was Rob Wishart. He only was like a 60% kicker.
Malcolm Earnshaw's. I'm with Malcolm Earnshaw. Hazem El Masri or Jonathan Thurston for me.
No, I'd go Daryl Halligan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Oh, you wouldn't because he let you down.
Can I tell that story
Yes,
as a Bears supporter?
Yeah.
Bears supporter. What year was it? 1991. Bears and Penrith were the best teams in the comp. Bears and Penrith are playing in the grand final qualifier.
Yeah.
Penrith end up winning that game 16-14. Daryl Halligan kicked 1 from 5.
So
we could have won that game, gone through to the grand final. We lost that game. We had to play Canberra the next week. We're leading 10-0 against Canberra and get done 30-10. Canberra go on into that grand final. And Penrith beat them. Halligan.
Halligan's out for you.
He's out for me, mate. Yeah, he's dead to me.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's good reason too. Yeah.
All right, mate. Round 4, Warriors versus Tigers, Campbelltown Stadium. First leg of the Mike Dorreen Cup, which we have never lost.
We haven't. We have not. Since its inception in 2021. Yes.
Go through our team list for this weekend.
So the team that Webby's picked to line up for the MD Cup. Chance Nickel-Cookster at fullback, Tane Tuapiki and Adam Pompey has been named on the wing this week. Centre combination of Rocco Berry, welcome back, mate, along with the beast Ali Tower. Half Chanel Harris, Davida and Luke Metcalf. Forward pack, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan and Mitchell Barnett up front. Kurt Capewell, Morata, Niokore and Aaron Clark in the back row. Interchange. Now, there's obviously going to be a change here because Dylan Walker is still sitting there in number 14 jersey. So who takes his spot? We'll probably talk about that in a second. But other than that, we got Jackson Ford, Dimitri Bomonga, and Leka Halasima. The extended bench is Tamare Martin, Jacob Laban, Sam Healy, Bunty Arfoa, and Ed Crossy. So whoever is going to take Dylan Walker's spot has to be out of that last group of 5 guys that I read out. So obviously Roger's going to be a big loss. As you said, he's been
8 weeks. They're saying
8 weeks. Yeah, hammies can be a real tough one to get right. I know from experience playing touch footy and trying to come back too soon, and then it goes as soon as you try to accelerate. So yeah, you want to make sure that you get that injury rehabbed properly. I'm all for Adam Pompey getting another shot at wing. He hasn't played wing regularly since 2020, but he had a really good back end of that season there on the wing. And we know he's going to do a job. Not the fastest guy going around, but he'll be able to, run the ball back strongly and I think he will do a good job. But in terms of Dylan Walker and who takes his spot, what are you thinking?
Firstly, I'll address Malcolm Earnshaw. He says, can't see why the Tigers are favourite. Tigers beat Eels and Finns. We beat Manly and the Chooks. I can tell you exactly why the Tigers are favourites, mate, is the bigwigs at the NRL have heard that I'm going to be at the game and I haven't seen the Warriors win at Campbelltown. That's all I can think it is. But no, I agree. I don't know why they're the thing. I can only just think that because they're the home team and maybe the jury's still out on...
And we got a bad
jury's still out on
our Campbelltown as well.
Yeah.
Only won twice there in the last 20 years, I think.
No, I disagree, Buzzman. I don't think TMM will come in and CHT will move to 14. I think CHT's done enough in the past 2 weeks to hold on to that number 6 jersey. That left foot kicking game, and that is a point of difference, I think, to Luke Metcalf. Personally, I think Jacob Laban was our 18th man last week, so maybe he comes onto the bench. I don't know if we run with 4 forwards. I suppose you could say Dylan Walker as a forward, but he has that ability to slot in the back line. But if we do have injuries, but we've got both Niokore and Capel who can play a centre position, outside back position if need be at a pinch. Personally, I'd like to see Sam Healy get a jersey this weekend.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, I picked him in my predictions for 2025 that he'll make his first grade debut. So if we can get that one out of the way, that's a green tick. Secondly, I think he may offer a little bit of a point of difference. I don't know whether he will, and we probably won't find out until Saturday afternoon when they whittle that extended bench down to 2. So we'll wait and see.
Terrible time.
Mate,
Terrible time for a game of footy as well, isn't it?
Oh, mate, I'm going like 6:15 on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Is just shit. But it's one of those things where I think we only get 4 games in Sydney this year to go and watch the boys play. So make sure that I go to all the games that I can. I would go with Healy too, I think, Jacko.
I agree. I agree with Jacko as well. Yeah. Healy, give him a shot. He's been really good in Cup. And he can play a middle forward role. Yep.
Mate, I think we showed our hand last week. Like week 2, Metcalf showed what he can do. We kind of need him to get kind of back to that form, but we need it behind a forward pack going forward. I think it was a dour forward struggle last week, and we didn't get a lot of good meters for Metcalf to play off the back of. Egan's been a point of difference out of dummy half, but Api Coruscant kind of is the point of difference for them out of dummy half. Very dangerous dummy half.
He worries me, Api. Yeah.
He worries me. I'm worried about our edge defence.
Yeah.
Like Capewell, whether he's defending against Samuela Fainu or Alex Seafarth, they're 2 guys that are playing really good footy at the moment and do like to get an offload away. Fanoa Pule for the Tigers has been outstanding. Terrell May starting at front row has been massive. Royce Hunt coming off the bench. They've got star factor and all over the park now, the Tigers. Taruva out wide. Gerald Skelton, he's been named, even though he left the field with a hammy injury, he's been named on the wing. And then, of course, you got Luai and Galvin who are just playing such good footy at the moment. We're going to have to work hard.
Threats all over the park there in that Tigers team now.
It's going to have to be it's going to have to be a similar defensive effort to what we've had in the past couple of weeks, where we're going to have to take the time and space away like we have against the Roosters and against Manly. We're going to have to get pressure them in defence, play that patient game, have a good kicking game. Rocco Berry's going to give us a good kick chase. We all know that. Hopefully our forwards can get the meters we need. Our back 5 are going to work hard. Roger's going to be a massive miss. Pompey's going to have to step up on the wing and take on that meter-eating role that Roger has from the back. I'm not confident.
No,
but then again, I've been confident the last couple of weeks. So
and you're going, which makes me even less confident.
I am going, and Brad Inger's just joined us. So sorry about that, Brad. I am going to this game on Sunday. I don't know, mate. What's your tip for this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to need to be a game like last week for us to win. I think we're going to need to get into a grind with them. If it gets to be a high scoring game, I don't know that we can match them. I think they've just got too many points sort of all over the park there, too many threats. Jareen Buller at fullback as well, playing good footy too, all over the park.
Their spine is outstanding.
Really
Their spine is first class.
We're going to have to play out of our skins, like we did last week. And I think if we can defend and scramble defend the way we did last week, then I think we can get away with a 6-point victory.
Nice.
I'll go with that.
Nice.
Close. It'll be close for sure.
Yeah. I think goal kicking is going to be integral in this one.
Yeah. Metcalf missed a couple of fairly straightforward shots.
Yeah.
So,
you have some faith, Brad. the more games I go to, I've got to get a win eventually, mate.
It's the law of averages.
Yeah, law of averages.
Finally beat the Roosters last week, so we're
Yeah.
starting to break some hooties here.
With every loss, I'm closer to my first win. Yeah, I think it'll be a close one. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a bit of a grind. I think it's going to come down to our forward effort. Aaron Clark, Fisher Harris, Barnett, absolutely massive for us the last couple of weeks, and that's going to have to continue. Wade Egan's game out of dummy half is going to be pivotal for us to take a little bit of pressure off Metcalf and CHT, and then Chance has to repeat the effort that he had last week.
For sure, yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a 4 or 6 point win to the Warriors, and I'm happy for us to tick away every week and just win by a couple of points. So long as we get those 2. It's an important 2 points.
Yeah.
Because the week after we got the bye.
Straight after, yeah. It's one of those 4-point games, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Buzzman saying it could set us up for the season, put us in a really strong position. And
absolutely.
One of our best
because who would
starts of the year in recent memory, if it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because who would have picked us to be 8 points from 5 rounds? Like if we get this up, after that Vegas effort. So, the boys have really turned it around. They again that word, the connection. They've obviously got that connection. Playing at home is completely different to winning away, as Manly have shown us, and the Raiders as well. So hopefully we're not going to be one of those teams that are good at home and mud whenever we play away from home. So this is going to be a statement for us to try and get our first away win of the season. I think Warriors by 4, and I'm going to pick Ali for a try and Tane Tuapiki for a try.
Okay. And just as long as we retain that Mike Dorreen Cup. Well, have we decided what's going to happen if it's a win apiece? Who retains the Mike Dorreen Cup? Is because we hold it? Do we retain it?
It'll go... No, I think the
aggregate?
fair thing is points aggregate, I think, will be the fair one.
Yeah,
and if it ends up being the same points aggregate, it'll go back to tries scored.
Okay, we're going to go. All right. It's like the World Cup when England won it, when they won it on boundary aggregate.
But I don't think we really have to worry about it. It's safe. And when do we play the Tigers again? Round what?
Oh, it's towards the back end of the season, I think.
And I suppose I'm going to have to, if we lose the Mike Dorreen Cup this year, I suppose I have to deliver it to the Great One.
You have to go down to the goal.
Yeah. Although I do have a lot of, I'm going with the Tigers supporter on Sunday. Brandon, Jess's partner, Brandon, Danny's youngest daughter.
Yeah.
He's a Tigers supporter. So, taking him to watch the Tigers lose, that's always a joy.
Actually, we play them round 19, Sunday, 13th of July at Mount Smart.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. There you go. Let's quickly go through the rest of round 4, mate. Thursday night, tomorrow night, kicks off with the Rabbits versus the Panthers at the Core Stadium. For the Rabbits, Alex Johnson makes his return from injury. Isaiah Tass moves to the centres. Campbell Graham is out injured. For the Panthers, obviously no Dylan Edwards, no Nathan Cleary, 2 big outs. Dane Laurie goes to fullback. Paul Alamotti to the wing. Tommy Jenkins, who played fullback last week, into the centres. Casey McLean's the guy that's got the flick. And surprisingly, Trent Toliau named at half instead of the 2 halves last week. Jack Cole and Blaze Talangi, who did quite a decent job for him. This is a tough one.
It is.
It's a tough one. And I'm gonna pick Wayne's Rabbitohs to get it over the Panthers. And that's a big thing because when was the last time the Panthers lost 3 in a row?
Yeah, well, you have to go pre-2020. So it'd really be like 2019 or something like that.
So I'm going to go Rabbits in a close one. Rabbits by 4.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree. I think that there's a lot of personnel missing for the Panthers. We know that they're going to turn up and play though. I think the Rabbitohs by 2.
Yeah, I know people will say, "Oh, yeah, but Cleary missed 10 games last season, and the Panthers are good." But they had not Dylan Edwards. They had
Luai.
Jerome Luai
Yep.
in the halves last year. So, yeah, I think the loss of Jerome Luai will affect them whilst Cleary is unavailable this week. And, yeah, I think they're going to go – I think they're going to start the season 1-3, the poor old Penny Panthers.
Yeah, wow. Unprecedented.
Friday night kicks off with the Roosters and Titans at Allianz Stadium. For the Roosters, Connor Watson is out with HIA protocols. Zach Tocker-Clay named as his replacement at hooker. Nat Butcher comes onto the bench. For the Titans, as we said, Keanu Kinney, he's out for the season. Jalen de Groot has been named at fullback. Whether he stays in that position or not is another thing, and whether they move Jaden Campbell or AJ Brimson or any other number of 3,000 fullbacks that they've got at that club into fullback. This is another one that's going to be hard to pick. I just think I'm going to pick the Titans in a close one. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I just think Tino's influence on this young Titans side has been immense in the past 2 weeks. And I like Jaden Campbell at halfback, and I like Brimson at 5'8". I think they're doing a good job in those positions. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Titans, but in a close one. Titans by 4.
Sorry, this one's in Sydney, right?
Yeah, Allianz.
Allianz, yeah. Look, I think I actually think the Titans will have too many points for the Roosters in them, and I think they'll get a 12-point win. I think they'll end up running away with it. Yeah.
Nice. The second game on Friday night is the true Battle of Brisbane, as they call it now, with the Dolphins playing the Broncos. Poor old Broncos having an away game, having to travel to Suncorp Stadium for this one.
Poor buggers.
So,
Must
yeah,
be so
poor
hard.
buggers. For the Dolphins, no changes to their 17.
None. Ooh.
What is it, Mark?
What's the time,
can we both
Mr.
say?
Wolf?
Yeah. Can we both say Mark Noah Kanatawasi's surname for us on air? There you go.
Nawanga
Tawasi.
Tawasi. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies, Mark.
Marky Muck.
Yeah, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, no changes for the Dolphins. Team under immense pressure. For the Broncos, Katoni Staggs named at centre. Dean Mariner drops to the extended bench. We had this conversation the other day talking about the Broncos. I'm a bit surprised. I thought Gerhard Shibasaki would have been the guy.
Yeah, old Woogie seems to be a bit of a fan of Gerhard. He must have good shoes.
He must have great shoes. Yeah, I think he signed a pair of pumps for him. Mate, I'm going to pick. I think the Broncos will be too good for them. Too many points in them. Broncos over the Dolphins in this one. Interestingly enough, that the Hammer hasn't scored a try yet this year.
Yeah, one disallowed in round 1 or 2.
And I'm a massive fan of Herbie Farmworth. I think Herbie Farmworth's one of the best centres in the game.
Herbie, the love
but
bug.
He's made me look a little bit stupid the past couple of weeks. I think last weekend he was playing touch footy for a while there too, where I think he tapped Taruva on his arm as he went over for a try. So I hope, I hope Herbie's been told it's tackle footy that he's playing this week.
Yeah, come on, Herb.
Yeah, old Herbs.
As much as I think that the Dolphins always get up for this game, and they gave the Broncos a real touch up back into last year, I think Broncos are going to be too good, and I think they'll click into gear. And always entertaining games though. Always great to watch the Battle of Brisbane.
Yeah.
So being a Queensland local, it stirs up a bit of excitement there. So I think Broncos will be way too good though. 14 plus, 13 plus.
Anyone going to that game that's watching us, make sure you grab a Suncorp Stadium hot dog. Best hot dogs.
I'll get Sean's going, so I'll tell him to have a couple for you. But you're like a creep that have no sauce on it.
No, you can't ruin that good hot dog. It's like pies. I don't have sauce on decent pies too. You only put sauce on stuff to hide the taste. That's all it is. I'm sorry.
Fair point. Yeah.
They're the only hot dogs I don't have sauce on. They're that nice. Normally I have sauce, mustard, and cheese.
We'll have to find out where they get their sausages from. Probably Don. Don is good.
Yeah, Don is good. Saturday, Dragons versus Storm at Strata Stadium. For the Dragons, David Clemmer has been named to make his club debut for the from the bench for the Storm. Grant Anderson moves to the centres for the injured Nick Meaney. Will Warbrick returns on the wing. Tyson Wishart is named to replace Jerome Hughes at halfback, so a couple of big outs. Nelson Asafa Solomona is not picked this week. I don't know whether it's because he's got HIA protocols.
He's been locked away.
Yeah, they don't want their own players injured away from Melbourne. So, mate, I think Melbourne will still be too good. Pappenhausen, Munster, all the rest of the boys, Harry Grant. I think Melbourne too good for the Dragons.
Yeah, I think Melbourne will pump them. Brad will be happy with that.
Yeah, and he can't have sauce on a pie. Nah, it's a good steak and mushroom pie. You don't want to fuck up the flavour by having sauce. So anyone out there who owns a pie shop, if I come into your pie shop and I order a pie and I ask for sauce, you know your pies are trash.
Yeah. They'll all be on notice now. Well, Hammer's coming.
Yep. I didn't have a sauce on my pie when we went to where did we go?
Otara,
yeah.
Yeah,
I had bacon and egg pie. Yeah.
I had the old mince and cheese.
Yep. Yeah, you did. Saturday, the second game on Saturday, mate, is the Cowboys versus the Raiders at Queensland Country Bank Stadium.
Ooh.
No changes for the Cowboys. For the Raiders, Joe Tarpanay returns from suspension. Mate, on form alone, you've got to go the Raiders. But if the Raiders that turned up last week turn up this week, I reckon the Cowboys get their first win of the season. But I'm going to tip the Raiders by 8.
Yeah, I think this one will be close. Like the Cowboys were much improved last week, as we said. I just don't like. I still got the Raiders' first 2 weeks in the back of my mind where they were so good.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be too good for the Cowboys, but it'll be a close one. Yeah.
Yeah. And the final game on Saturday, the Sharks versus the Bulldogs at Sharks Stadium. No changes for either side to the 17 that ran out last week. This is going to be a great game, but I think the Sharks will have too many points in them. I think in a game against a top quality opponent like the Sharks, the Bulldogs are going to struggle without Matt Burton and Billy Army Kickout. I'm going to say the Sharks, and I think the Sharks put some points on the Bulldogs and win by 13 plus.
Yeah, I agree. The Sharks will be a bit too good for them. Sorry, Benny the Bulldog.
Benny the Bulldog, you're obviously eating the wrong pies, brother. Because, some of the best pies, mate, you don't want to put sauce on them. Trust me. I don't know where you're getting your pies from. Is it Lakemba? I haven't had Lakemba pies, mate. I actually make a trip for decent pies. So I'll go to Otford Pie Shop, or I'll go to Robertson Pie Shop. To get I don't just go to any shit local bakery. They've got to be a decent pie.
Be reputable. You know, I've never been, despite the fact I've lived in southeast Queensland for pretty much all my life, I've never been to Yatla Pies. So next time you're up, we'll have to go to Yatla Pies.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. Done. 2nd of May.
Let's do it. We're going to Yatla.
Yeah. Yatla. Sunday games, mate. Seagulls versus Eels at 4 Pines Park for the Seagulls. Tom Trbojevic returns at fullback. Josh Ollier named to start for the injured Taniela Paseka, who's going to be out for a number of weeks. Nathan Brown comes onto the bench for the Eels. Sean Russell is named on the wing for Jordan Samrani. Jack Williams, who I think has been outstanding for the Eels in their first couple of games, has moved to the front row. Mate, how do the Sea Eagles faithful respond to the Daly Cherry Evans news? Does he get booed at 4 Pines this week? Firstly, I think Manly will be too strong for the Eels. They've got too many points in them. I think Manly will win by 13 plus and playing at 4 Pines Park.
Yep.
But before we move on, what are your thoughts on this whole Cherry Evans thing? Because that was massive news that came out on Monday night. Yeah. Yeah,
and then the theatrics of receiving a live offer on NRL 360. He just really
then he went on that 100% footy. is Little Kiwi Bakehouse in
Yeah,
Narang
I
is
just
really
saw
good.
that.
Haven't been there. Yeah, haven't been there. There's a Kiwi place at Cooma as well, near the theme parks.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it does the Kiwi food there. So Terry Evans went on that show with Bracey and Phil Gould and those guys the other
100%
night.
League or whatever that thing's called. Yeah.
Actually said that he told Manly in December that he was going to be leaving. Says the story's weird because he's come out and said that it's just so he can focus on his footy, but then he turns around and said that even if Manly, whatever Manly have offered him, he's not going to be there. A lot of people are speculating that he's going to go home to Queensland and could be a pickup for the Dolphins. I heard, what's his name? Justin Horro talking today. I like his theory. He reckons they've got money in their salary cap. He reckons he could end up at the Panthers because money's not going to be an issue for Cherry Evans. He's made a lot of money and he's been very astute with his business
He's got a lot of
things.
investment.
I think if he's going for anything now, it'll be for a premiership. If he's going to play on, it'll be to win a premiership. If he's going to soil that or tarnish that one club player thing that a lot of guys want to do, if he's going to not stay at Manly, I think that'd be a great, like, rather than go to the Roosters, mate. Could you imagine him in the halves as a 5'8" with Nathan Cleary?
Wow.
At the Penny Panthers.
He still offers so much
story,
as well. He's such a durable player, and even at 36, he's still playing great footy.
The other story that's coming out is that apparently, and I don't know how true it is because there's a lot of stories around. Apparently, he was being shopped around last year by Manly because of his age, and they didn't want to offer him a contract, and that kind of got Cherry Evans' nose out of joint.
Yeah.
Going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Obviously, he's at Manly for the remainder of the year. Going to be interesting to see if he plays it out, and whether he even plays on again next year. He might get halfway through the year and his body might say, and if Manly win the comp this year, that's the best way to go out anyway. So it'll be one of those watch these spaces types of
it's
things.
an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Final game on Sunday, 6:15 kickoff, Campbelltown Stadium. Tigers versus Warriors. For the Tigers.
No better place to be.
For the Tigers, no changes to their 17. For the Warriors, Rocco Berry named at centre. Adam Pompey moves to the wing for the injured RTS. Obviously, Dylan Walker named at 14. He won't be playing, and there will be a late change to the lineup. We've both picked a Warriors win, and the Knights have the bye. That's it for the round review for this week.
Yeah, well, I just want to give a shout out at the moment to all of our Patreon supporters. A number of you guys in the chat, Malcolm and Shaw, or Sean Whiskey in there as well. Anyone else I've missed, I apologise. But yeah, we really do appreciate you guys that support us through Patreon. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter of Roo and Hammer, you can follow that link there, www.patreon.com/Roo_and_Hammer. And for as little as $3 a month, you can support us in what we do. And you can go up to we got $10 a month package as well, and that entitles you to 2 fantastic T-shirts from our Roo and Hammer store every year. So thanks to all you guys that do support us, gold, silver, platinum, bronze, everyone. We greatly appreciate it. All the money goes back into the show and pays for all our licenses and all other costs that are involved in bringing you the product that we do bring you. And speaking of merchandise, that is your thing. If you want to grab yourself a Dylan Walker shirt, well, you still can. Jump onto our Roo and Hammer Redbubble store. So you go to Redbubble/people/Roo-and-Hammer/shop. Make sure you go through the shop, so all the commission does come back to us. But jump on there and have a look at some of the T-shirts we do have available. There's new designs coming up very soon. Definitely going to have to do a Ali Leia Tower shirt and a Leka Halasima shirt. But yeah, have a look at some of the designs we have there, honouring past and present legends of the club and other great moments in Warriors history. So jump on there and have a look. They're always having specials on Redbubble, 20% off, I think, at the moment as well. So jump on there, have a look, grab yourself some new threads, and look the part on game day.
Absolutely. That wraps it up for tonight's show. I just noticed Malcolm Earnshaw said other rumour was Gold Coast to reunite with Des, and don't forget Kieran Foran's there as well. So,
But would he dare to backflip on the Gold Coast again after what happened last time?
No. Can you imagine that? You got two of the oldest halves combinations playing out of Queensland in Hasler and Foran at the Titans, and old mate Reynolds and Ben Hunt at
Dad's army on both sides, eh? Yeah.
What's that? 3, 6, 9, 1,200 games between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, joining us. Always great to see the great Juan tune in. Be interesting to see if he tunes in next Wednesday when we're talking about a Warriors.
He'll be all over it if it's the other way around, won't he? He'll be there. He'll be there front and centre.
We'll block him. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Everyone stay safe. And, go the Wars. Up